Cities that have serial killers that have never been caught. Albuquerque, New Mexico has the West Mesa Bone Collector. Back in 2009, he was suspected of killing 11 women with a possible 19 more. He got his name because the skeletons were all that was found. There was no clothing or other trace evidence. They were found buried in a remote stretch of the desert. The Long Island serial killer, better known as Lisk, killed at least 10 people back in 2010 and 2011. They believe this killer has actually been caught, and his name is Rex Howerman, but they're unsure if it's actually him or not. Now, that man has definitely been arrested for murders. They just don't know if the Lisk killer was actually him. Coincidentally, the killings did stop whenever he was arrested, but this could be a serial killer looking for a scapegoat and moving on to a new area. League City, Texas, there was multiple bodies found between 2003 and 2006 in an area that they deemed the killing fields. All these bodies seem to have the same MO, but no killer was ever caught. All of his victims were women, and though there was only about 4 bodies found, they do suspect there's more, and they just haven't found them yet in that gigantic, vast area. Atlantic City, New Jersey had a string of strangulations back in the late 2000s. They were all women, and no one was ever identified. The Oklahoma City Butcher was active throughout the 70s and 80s, leading to multiple deaths of women, and he has never been identified. There's not been hardly any leads in that actually, and it is still an open case. Then you have the Interstate 40 dumping ground that stretches across Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Tennessee, where there is more than 200 open cases alone between those 3 states of women found dumped on the side of the road. That doesn't even count the amount of open cases of people that have gone missing on that stretch of interstate. The FBI does not believe that as one serial killer, rather as many serial killers working on that same strip of road. There's a high estimate that ranges between 1 and 500 active serial killers on the Interstate 40 route. Be safe out there traveling for Thanksgiving this year, because you never know who might be lurking in one of those towns that you're going to visit. These are some of the most dangerous cities in America, especially if you are a single woman traveling alone or if you're traveling with small children. The first city you should avoid is Houston. It's no secret that it is one of the biggest sex trafficking cities in the country, let alone the world. There is also a possible active serial killer in Houston. Investigators are looking into it right now. Just last month alone, 5 bodies were pulled out of the Houston Bayou, making 16 for this year to be pulled out of the Houston Bayou. In fact, Harris County, where Houston is located, is one of the biggest organized crime sex trafficking hubs in the entire world. Based upon geography, it's close to the border. There's a major port there. There's a lot of highways and interstates nearby. It's just an all-around easy in and out place for these people to prey upon you. Just last year alone, in October, there was a big nightclub ring bust where more than 80 victims of human trafficking were saved. It is insane that I guess people were using these nightclubs to figure out, which single women were out there, and then they were getting tipped off. Las Vegas is actually the next one because of all the tourism. There's so many people in and out that it's hard for them to keep track of everyone there, and it's real easy for somebody to get a little too drunk and party a little too hard. And the people at the hotel, they don't know who's with who that's going in and out all the time, and they're preying upon the people that are really, really, really drunk, that often are traveling like in bachelorette parties when people split up and get separated. So if you're doing a bachelorette party in Las Vegas, always have a buddy with you at all times. Atlanta, Georgia is also arguably one of the highest volume of human tracked people when it comes to adult women. It's really high up there when it comes to children as well, but adult women in Atlanta have to be extremely careful on who you're around, what surroundings you're in. It is really, really high up there. It is possible that in 2025, when the statistics are in, that Atlanta will become the #1 human trafficked city in America. Now, Miami is on this list, but it's Florida as a whole. Florida is a hub and always has been a hub for drugs and human trafficking. It will always continue to be because of all the ports, official and unofficial ports, people coming in the docks off the ocean. It is a gateway of just bad stuff. But Orlando, Miami, there's actually a little small fishing town in Florida, and I'll have to look it up, that is known you do not go there alone ever. And I'll have to look that one up. It's really bothered me, but it's just a small little quiet town that no one would ever suspect. Toledo, Ohio. For whatever reason, they are honing in on Toledo, Ohio, because when they're arresting these people that are involved in human and sex trafficking, they're finding a weird connection between them. And it's that the only commonality that they can find is that they have family in Toledo, they're from Toledo. So the FBI thinks that Toledo, for whatever reason, is where they're recruiting people from, people from overseas are targeting that area to recruit people to help them traffic individuals. It is weird how many people that are arrested, that are leading these rings or involved in these rings, have ties or are from Toledo, Ohio. It's the weird piece of the puzzle they haven't quite figured out yet. Last, we're going to talk about Memphis, Tennessee. If you have not heard about what's been going on in Memphis, Tennessee, it is insane. Okay, in the last few months alone, they did this big task force operation where they busted up a few places where over 100 missing children from all across the country were found. This is wild. It's one of the biggest trafficking busts in human history. And it's just, to me, it's insane. I go through Memphis all the time. And you know, on here, we've talked about I-40 and how dangerous it is. Memphis sits right on I-40. Towns you're most likely to be taken out by a serial killer in the state of Oklahoma. Broken Bow is going to be the first one I'll talk about. It has the highest rate of missing people that go unsolved per capita in the state of Oklahoma. Next, we're going to talk about Oklahoma City because it sits right on the I-35 and I-40 corridor. And if you know, I-40 is the most dangerous stretch of road in the entire world, with an estimated 500 serial killers using I-40 as its hunting ground. They essentially estimate that a serial killer passes through Oklahoma City every single day. If you've all been out of the loop, they actually just arrested 7 sex traffickers here in Oklahoma yesterday, where 4 children were rescued, by the way. Now, Tulsa belongs right on that same list just because of the sheer amount of people in Tulsa. It's pretty much guaranteed that there is a serial killer in Tulsa. The FBI estimates there's one active serial killer per about 650,000 people. And since that many people live in the Tulsa area, it's pretty much guaranteed statistically there is one there. Muskogee, Oklahoma has the highest rate of unsolved crimes in general. I know we talked about Broken Bow have the most unsolved missing people, but Muskogee has the most unsolved crimes in general. Shawnee also belongs on this list because of that I-40 corridor that it sits on. Also, Shawnee, Oklahoma is home to several infamous unsolved crimes here in Oklahoma. The first one being the 2007 Jane Doe, which to this day has still not been identified. She was found in the North Canadian River, and to this day, no one knows who she is. Oklahoma in general, if you all did not know it, is the second highest missing people that goes unsolved per capita. The first one being Alaska, number 2 being Oklahoma, and it is a close second. We have the highest demographic of taking people that are never found, which is indigenous women. Indigenous women make up the number 1 demographic people that go missing, and it's never solved. If you see something, say something, and anytime you're traveling these Oklahoma roads at night, definitely tell a friend. If you guys haven't drove through Oklahoma, you can be on what seems to be a busy interstate or highway and then take one exit, and within 2 minutes you are in the middle of nowhere with no lights, bad cell phone service, and really no landmarks to distinguish where you are. I was actually just talking to one of my friends tonight. His name's Rocky, and he actually talked about getting lost the other day, and he said within minutes he just was in a completely desolated area because he took one wrong turn. He had no cell phone service, and luckily he found his way back to the interstate because his GPS on his phone actually would not pick up a signal. If you enjoy this spooky content, I don't know why you're not following the page already. Professions that house the most serial killers. First, we talked about truck drivers. Now we're going to talk about healthcare workers. We're talking doctors, nurses. So some of you might know that a lot of serial killers do hide themselves amongst healthcare workers because simple mistakes can lead to the unaliving of people. So these mistakes are made on purpose. Now you would say no one would ever do that. Oh yes, they would. We have tons of examples of this. Look at the case of Charles Cullen, a nurse who would poison the saline bags with insulin, and it would be at complete random on who was going to get those saline bags. And when that person would get that saline bag, it would lead for their bodies just to crash and cause instant death nearly. They think it was more, but we know for a fact that he was responsible for at least 29 deaths. They do believe it was more. Now, I do think it's strange his last name was Cullen, and the vampire series Twilight, the doctor's their last name was Cullen. I don't think that's a coincidence. Beverly Elliott was also a nurse back in the 90s that would smother babies in the babies ward. She was directly responsible for at least 9 deaths, but they suspect that there was more because she was also poisoning some of the babies as well. So, I mean, that's one of the most sick things I can think of is hurting those innocent babies. Now, if you look into like elderly care, that's where a lot of these people hide in because these elderly patients with dementia, there's Alzheimer's, they can't fend for themselves or like talk about it openly. There is literally countless cases of elderly people in nursing homes being essentially tortured. It is a absurd amount. Now, if you're in the healthcare industry like my family was, my grandpa was a doctor, my uncle was a doctor, my grandma was a nurse, we love y'all. We do. But I'm always telling people to be wary of what's around you because half of these stories that I even know came from my grandpa, my grandma, other people in the healthcare, telling me about this. So my grandpa, for example, when he got older, one of his head nurses took care of him. And while he was going through a cancer of the brain, she actually had him sign over his house, his cars, like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of items and assets into her and her husband's name. Our family got them back after years and years and years of court battle. And this was a lady that I had known since I was a child. Stay spooky out there and watch out for who's around you.